Well, this is Mallory Gwynn. We're at CTV5 this morning, and we were able to catch up with Chief Jim Davis of Canby Fire. Man, it's so good to see you.
Thanks, Mallory.
You know, we get to see each other pretty often, right?
All the time.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing at all.
Not at all.
It's good to sit down and maybe just learn a little bit about you, you know, the good introduction. It'd be good for the whole community to know what's going on behind the Canby Fire now.
Well, I love being here today, and thanks for the opportunity.
Totally. Well, it's a pleasure, and let's just start with history. How did you know, here you are at Canby, right? Canby, Oregon. What all went before this to get you to this place?
To Canby? Well, I would say my career. But what actually drew me to the Canby community was when I took the fire chief's job in Oregon City in 1996. And it was an interesting situation. My son Jimmy was a sophomore up in Woodinville, Washington at the time, and we were looking for a place to settle as he was a sophomore. And you know, we went to Oregon City High School, and he wanted to check out a few other high schools. And so we just happened, everybody kept saying, well, go to Canby. It's a family-oriented community. Yeah. It's a great high school, great education system. And so we drove to Canby High School. We walked in the door and we ran into Dennis Burke, who happened to be the basketball coach at the time. And he had my son go to school the rest of the day with the basketball, some of the basketball players. And the rest is history. We fell in love with that, and then the opportunity, we found a house in Canby, and I received a telephone call from Fred Quintero, of all people, and he goes, hey, I understand you coach baseball, you know, and I said, the phone just got hooked up, Fred. How did you know that?
That fast,
That fast. And so, you know, the next thing I know, I was coaching for the midget federal baseball team. For Canby, and we fell in love with the community.
The instant hook.
Right away, you know, and so I truly understand what they mean by Canby being a family-oriented community.
Absolutely. And
people, I mean, I asked Freddie, how did you know that? He goes, well, you're in Canby now. Everybody knows everybody in Canby.
One of those classic issues of small town, right?
Yeah, it was. Nice. So that's how, you know, I have three daughters that are still up in the Woodinville area, and my two sons. One, Jimmy's now a firefighter with Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, and has been for 12 years. He graduated from Canby High School.
Nice.
And my son Scott lives in Sherwood, and he's also an EMTI right now, and he's also selling real estate. And then I'm very proud of my three girls, all up in the Woodinville area, and 8 grandkids.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I'm very close with my 8 grandkids, and my wonderful wife Michelle. She's put up with me for 43 years. So
that's a long time to put up with you. No, just kidding. No. Fantastic! What a great story.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So, how long have you been in the fire industry?
Well, that was interesting. I got started in the fire industry. The reason I got started in the fire industry was when I was in about 4th grade, we had a big fire at our house in Spokane, Washington.
Really?
And I was coming home, and here's all these fire trucks around around our house, our family home. And I grew up with a family of 9. Been a good Catholic boy from Spokane.
Sure.
You know, right in the Gonzaga University district, and this house is burning pretty good. And the firefighters kind of took me under their wing and took care of me and explained to me what was going on. And I was, at that point, I thought, you know, these people really care. They really care for the people around them as well as the job that they're doing. And so I had the opportunity back in 1973 to join the Air Force. And so they went through the whole list of things that I could do, and one of them was to be a firefighter. And I thought,
in the Air Force?
In the Air Force.
Okay.
So I became a firefighter in the Air Force Fire Department. You know, my first assignment after medical training and recruit school was up in Plattsburgh, New York. And I had the opportunity to, you know, go overseas to Ramstein, Germany, and I made staff sergeant under 4 years. So my last assignment was in Germany, in Kaiserslautern, Germany, at an all-German national firehouse.
Wow.
And I was in charge of the shift of the next person to me was 44 years old, and I was 23 years old.
Wow.
And so I had to very quickly learn the German language and understand the German language. And
you like the German food?
I love the German food.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it. And had a great time in Germany. And as I was looking at getting out, I had an opportunity to test for the fire department and got on at Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and went through the ranks of the fire service in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And that's where I got started as doing chief work, as I started the first fire marshal's office for the city of Coeur d'Alene as a fire marshal, and I was a lead and arson investigator for the entire county at that point. And I had a wonderful fire chief, a wonderful mentor, Don Kay, who took a chief's job over in Redmond, Washington. And so he called me up and told me about an assistant chief's job in Woodinville, Washington, which was supposed to be the fastest growing community in the state of Washington back in 1982. And we grew from 25,000 population to around 65,000 population.
Oh my goodness.
I had to draft the master plan. We went from 1 fire station to 5 fire stations.
Oh wow.
We went from 10 paid people to 65 paid people. We incorporated 2 fire districts into our fire district, as well as the city of Woodinville that incorporated, and we incorporated the city of Woodinville into our fire district as well. So I had the opportunity to actually have the city manager in, the fire station, because that's where City Hall started, was in the fire station.
Right there in the station. Huh.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of the path I took until I took the fire chief's job in Oregon City.
In Oregon City.
And then when Oregon City contracted with Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue back in 1999, I went over to Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue as a battalion chief. And then from a day battalion chief, I moved on to the line and got assigned out of Beaverton at the busiest battalion in the Portland area, which was just a blessing in disguise, because I really love being out on the street and being involved with the fire crews and running calls and doing training and safety and things like that. So I served there for about 14 years as a line battalion chief in Beaverton and in Tualatin and West Lynn. So I was in the 3 battalions at Tualatin Valley, and back in about 2012, I tested for division chief and was assigned out of the new Tualatin Valley admin office in Tigard as the Central Ops Division Chief, and I had 3 cities that I was responsible for, Sherwood, Tigard, and King City. And so all the city councils, the police department, liaison with the police department, disaster preparedness, community risk reduction, and those things. So it was rather busy.
Really busy.
Yeah, so when I had the opportunity and I saw the opportunity became available for Canby, I mean, that's always been in the back of my mind, is when will the fire chief's job open up in Canby?
That was really in the back of your mind. I mean,
the entire time, because of the fact that the one part that I was missing was being tied back into the community. When you're in a very large department like that, and you don't live in one of those communities, it's very difficult to feel like you're tied into the community.
Certainly, a bit of a disconnect, maybe.
A disconnect. So I had the opportunity to, test for the fire chief's job in Canby. And I was blessed to be offered the job from the board of directors at Canby Fire in July. It was to me, it was somewhat of a smooth transition in that I served as, and actually one part I left out was in about 2002, I went down to offer some services to Canby Fire, because I got done coaching through Canby Kids, did a lot of coaching through Canby Kids and through baseball and football and soccer. And so I was looking, where else can I volunteer in the community? So I went down to the fire department and I said, hey, I can teach some classes for you. And the next thing I knew, they were saying, well, Chief Coons said, well, how about we make you a lieutenant, and here's a pager. You know, so I joined the volunteers at Canby Fire.
Nice.
And then eventually they bumped me up to captain with the volunteer fire department in Canby. So there was a period of time where I had to stop doing that because when I went to days on my job at Tualatin Valley, I didn't have the time to offer to them.
That much more time.
Right. Yeah. So I was able to come back to Canby as I was looking towards retirement, and then this job became available, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, I remember actually taking some pictures and shooting the photography at your induction into the chief position, and the retirement of Chief Coons, and that was really an honor to be able to be there and watch that all happening. And one of the things that I've noticed about you, just out in the community, as a person just who does everything here, we don't live in Canby proper, but is you on the street. Most events that I see that require emergency vehicles from the fire department, I've seen you there. In fact, my own daughter had an accident and you were there. It was a single car accident up on, some forsaken road someplace, and there you were. It was actually the first time I ever saw you.
Right.
It was pretty cool to see that the chief was out there on the street.
Yeah, well, if it's not me, you're going to see Todd Gary there as well.
Absolutely, well,
because
I see too much of him already. No, I'm just kidding. Good guy he is. Yeah. He's right there behind the camera.
Yeah. Well, what you're going to find is all the way through the organization. I'm really proud of the organization, and I can tell you that part of the reason I wanted to take this job was because of the people in the organization.
Sure.
We are, as citizens of Canby, we have what I feel is the best EMS delivery service in the Portland metropolitan area, and that's because of the people and the paramedics and the volunteers that are out there on a daily basis providing this service, because they truly care about people. Yeah. And you see that day in and day out with the service that they deliver. And that also includes, when you come to the front desk and Chris Rocha greets you at the front desk.
Sure.
She really is compassionate about her job and doing her job, as well as the firefighters. And Lori, I mean, it's a very small nucleus of people that deliver this service and the customer service throughout the Canby area, and I'm so proud of the people that work at Canby Fire.
Oh my goodness! You know what? That was evidence. I was able also to be at your guys' award ceremony this past year, and just to look at the group there and look at the amazing group of people that you have. Even, the chaplain, Bill Roberts, one of the chaplains, just
wonderful
people like
person.
that who have been in the community, who are so passionate about compassion.
Right.
And it's just an incredible thing. It's kind of rare, actually, to see that in an organization like a fire department. So from an outsider's perspective, and what I mean outsider, just outside of the fire department, I look and I think, man, what better kind of community service could be provided than what you guys provide. And you have a passion for community.
Yes, absolutely. And I would say it goes throughout Canby Fire, but my philosophy is that we have to treat others how we would want our family treated. Mm-hmm. Sure. And so if we're out on that person that's in a car accident, or someone who is, loved one is having a heart attack, and we need to have that compassion on every call that we go on. And at any given point, if somebody feels that they're losing that compassion, then it's time to retire.
Sure.
It's time to, because it's time to leave. But throughout the organization, Canby personnel really truly care about the people that they respond on.
Yeah, very true. Hey, a couple of things. Safety's on your mind a lot. I know that. And in fact, recently, some transition, our own city was faced with the idea that maybe we wouldn't have fireworks on the 4th of July. And I know that you took that very much at heart because not only from the community perspective of having something there for them to do on the 4th of July, but your heart was a safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about that just a little bit?
Well, first of all, let's go back to community. Canby without fireworks, really?
Wouldn't be a good idea.
Wouldn't be a good idea. I mean, it's happened as long as that I've lived here. And everybody looks forward to getting together as a community, just like Canby Days or the antique car shows.
Absolutely.
And the fair. I mean, it's just, there's certain things in Canby that make Canby a livable community.
Absolutely.
To do business in and to live in. And one of them is the 4th of July activities,
General
the
Canby
parade,
Day,
General Canby Days, and then, of course, ending it with the fireworks. Well, when we heard that wasn't going to happen, I had extreme concern because of the fact that it's been my experience, having lived through some very serious 4th of Julys with substantial fire damage up in the Woodinville area in 1986, to be exact, when we had a very dry summer and people were going out and obtaining fireworks that weren't legal to set off in the community. We had numerous fires. We had numerous injuries. We lost a young man wherein fireworks were thrown in the back of a little Volkswagen Bug, and he burnt to death in the back of this Volkswagen Bug. So I've seen what happens if we don't have safe and sane fireworks. And we started a safe and sane fireworks display up in Woodinville, and our injuries went down, our fire fatalities, our fire, the loss ratio caused by fire went down. And I strongly believe that's why Canby does so well every year. Absolutely. In regards to, we don't see, unfortunately last year we had 2 substantial injuries, and they were both caused on fireworks that weren't legal fireworks
in the city of Oregon.
In the city of Canby.
Yes.
And that's very unfortunate. But at the same time, because we have the fireworks display, people can go to what we term as safe and sane fireworks displays, and then stick with legal fireworks around their house. And I am extremely concerned this year with the drought conditions.
Exactly right, and it almost is that same scenario that you had in Woodinville. And so I remember watching your face, or when we walked into that first meeting together, and it's like, this was serious business for you because you'd already experienced a very similar situation in another town and thought, man, we got to do something here.
Absolutely, but the big part too is just the tradition of Canby. That's what makes Canby livable. Is that we do celebrate the 4th of July. We do those things.
We have General Canby Day around the park, and we have 4th of July fireworks, and celebrating our independence, all of those things.
Well, I wouldn't want the mayor to have to leave his backyard to watch fireworks somewhere else.
No, that's right. Who wouldn't want Mayor Brian to, exactly. Well, so the Volunteer Fire Association, they've really taken that on.
Absolutely. We invited the Volunteer Firefighter Association to the first meeting. And they immediately stepped forward and said, we will be the nonprofit organization to host the fireworks and to obtain the donations from whoever would like to donate to the fireworks. Right. As you know, we're doing very well at this point, but we're a long ways away from our goal. We've got about $6,000 committed at this point, and we would really like to get to the $10,000 mark.
Right.
And then Western Fireworks, of
Western
course.
Display Fireworks is going to ante up, and they have for a long time.
Oh, they've been wonderful.
They've done way over and above, and so we really like to thank them for all that they've done in the past. But they really want to make this, look, they're right here in Canby.
This is their hometown.
This is their hometown. They want it to be dynamite, so to speak.
Right.
You get that dynamite? Yeah, it's a joke. Anyway, well, that's why I'm not a comedian. Anyway, so people can donate.
Yes, they can.
They can come to the chamber, right?
They can come to the chamber office. They can go to the city of Canby, to the community development office. They can go to the local fire station, as well as Columbia Bank. The bank account has been opened up at Columbia Bank over by Fred Meyer's.
Okay. And take anybody's donations there, citizens, businesses. We just want to make this one of the very best, well, the very best display so far.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely.
It will be fantastic.
It will be a great display.
One not to miss and one that you want to make sure you're at. So
absolutely.
Couple more questions.
Okay.
We didn't cover when your family's amazing. That whole story. 5 kids, cool. That's what I've got. 5 daughters.
Yeah.
And you got sons.
I've got 3 daughters and 2 boys.
Yeah. But what do you guys do in the off time? What are your hobbies?
Well, the hobbies. I love spending time with my wife Michelle.
Absolutely.
And we love to spend time with our grandkids. We're able to go over and watch my grandsons in Sherwood. Actually, this last year was rather interesting because the state championship basketball was over in Bend was between Sherwood and Canby. So I had a number of my neighbors that were there from Canby wondering why I had a red shirt on.
Yeah,
so don't hold that against
question,
me.
Right?
Yeah. But so we spend a lot of time, and I spent a lot of time on I-5, not since July, which I got to do a better job on, but spending time on I-5, going up and spending time with the other grandkids up in Woodinville. Other hobbies, I love to backpack.
Nice.
I've made it a goal to do the Pacific Crest Trail starting in Canada and working all the way down to Oregon. And then I want to do Oregon on the Pacific Crest Trail.
Fantastic.
And I'll typically take one of my sons or some grandkids or their cousins along with me on the pack trail. But just absolutely beautiful up there. Getting up high up into the mountains, and you can't beat it.
Yeah.
So I love to do backpacking. Of course, I love football. I played semi-pro football over in the European Football League.
I'll be darned.
And
what position did you play?
I played linebacker, actually.
Hey,
I played linebacker, and I played linebacker and tight end in high school in Spokane. And that's actually how I got over to Germany when I was in the Air Force.
Is that right?
Was they saw that I played football, and Alexander Haig was the commander of NATO at the time.
Right.
And I wondered how I got over to Ramstein, Germany, and they told me I was going to be playing semi-pro football. So it was a great experience. Got to travel around. So I love sports. I love playing football. I love coaching kids. Coached girls softball up in Woodinville for years. Transitioned the high school softball team for the fast pitch when they had got sanctioned to bring girls fast pitch into the high school. And then, of course, I coached baseball down here and had 2 state championships with the Canby Baseball Club team that I had, and got to see those boys go on and play at the varsity, as well as 3 of them obtain some Division I scholarships.
Oh, cool.
So that was kind of cool to actually see that happen. I participate a lot in Canby in regards to the St. Patrick's Church. I belong to St. Patrick's Church, the Knights of Columbus, the Rotary, the Canby Rotary. We help out with the every year I do the Seattle Stair Climb for leukemia lymphoma.
Right, I was going to ask you about that, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yep, and that's climbing 69 floors with all the breathing apparatus and firefighting gear on. But in the 23 years, I looked at that the other day, and I think I've raised about close to $50,000 in the years that I've participated for Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And then the MDA that we do every year, which will be in July again this year, the same time as the Hoop Fest. So I'll be going between collecting money at the intersection to going over to help them with the Rotary with the Hoop Fest.
Right, which is a cool event. Another cool event right here in Canby, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, by the way, we'll back up for a second. That's not 69 stairs. That's 69 flights of stairs. That's stories. That's like if you're in the back halls of a hotel and you go up the one and go up the next, that's one floor. You go 69 of those.
That's right. And
that's crazy. No wonder you were a linebacker.
Well, you know, it's yeah, I'm in the geriatric division now.
Well, listen, I might be in that same age group, but I'd be in the way beyond the geriatric.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, very cool. Last question I have for you, just in terms of the Canby Fire Department. You know, there's obviously you're the new chief, and still there's that newness because it hasn't been that long. What do you see? How do you see transition? How do you see? I mean, obviously there is some transition. You have your own heart. You have your own plan and how you want things to be. How are you doing in that? And what is your goal?
Well, we've actually have the staff. We have accomplished quite a bit since July in regards to some substantial accomplishments. I've got to hand it first to just the fact that the board of directors, Canby should feel very proud of their board of directors. I mean, it's a well-rounded group of board of directors at Canby Fire, extremely knowledgeable, and they really truly care for the community. So it starts with the board of directors. But we have accomplished a lot since July. You know, I can't do it without the support of the staff.
Sure.
Todd, Lori, Chris, the captains, everybody on down the line as a team. But some of the major issues, that we're doing right now is that passing the budget is number one. Getting the budget through. We have a levy coming up in November, and that's something that the board of directors are going to have to make some decisions on by September because it has to be sent in by September. So what do we do with the renewal, or do we replace the existing levy which provides the firefighters to respond to emergencies? We're also, for the business community, we're looking at reducing our ISO, or Insurance Standards Office rating for the city, as well as the district, which is huge as well too, because if we can reduce that, it's going to be substantial savings for business owners downtown as far as their fire insurance. We're currently 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. We're currently at a 5. We'd like to lower that down to at least a 3 or a 4.
3 or 4.
And if we can get that in the city, then we can also then get a lower rating in the rural area, which we've already made some revisions on. So that will help the rural area out considerably in regards to their cost of insurance. So we're moving full steam ahead with that as well. And then, of course, the challenge of lack of capital.
Certainly.
We have fire trucks that are aging, ambulances that are aging.
Yes.
So infrastructure issues, we need a remodel at our main fire station. We'd like to relocate our substation out on Highway 170 to a more advantageous location where we can join service with the Molalla Fire District, perhaps. So we have a number of initiatives that we're currently working on. But the most important part is we have a strategic plan which we just completed, and the board of directors have heard the first draft of that. We're going to hold a work session. Once we have that strategic plan, our goals are going to be clearly outlined as far as our business plan moving forward for Canby Fire. And we're going to be doing that in June with the adoption of that at the June board meeting of the board of directors. That'll be the direction that I receive, and of course that's the direction that will proceed forward internally, just like a business.
Yep, absolutely. So you've accomplished a lot. You've got big things on the plate, and you've got those normal issues of having the money to do it. But I'm confident. You know, I watch you, and you know, being the director of the chamber here in Canby, you know, I'm always watching for good businesses, you know, what they're doing, and, you know, you're doing good business. And it's just a matter of time, and it's a matter of education, letting people know what those needs are. And this has been a good forum to just talk about that a little bit and put that stuff out in the wind.
Absolutely. And one thing you can expect from Canby Fire is that people will be kept informed. And anything that we move forward with from the board of directors, whether it's the levy or whether it's a bond issue, you know, we will inform the citizens as far as the needs for Canby Fire. And ultimately, the citizens that live here, as well as myself, will make those decisions on what it is we're willing to live with. I can tell you that Canby Fire is one of the best deals if you're looking from the business side in regards to what we receive versus what we deliver in regards to comparables around us on what we cost as a fire district.
Wow. Lots there, man.
Yeah.
Is that a picture of your family?
It is.
Can you show that? Just hold it. In fact, just hold that up real steady and check that out right there. There's a picture of the family.
Yeah,
with the grandkids and
with
everything.
the grandkids.
Beautiful.
You know, and as you can see, I do have the one grandson that's a San Francisco 49er fan.
Now, does that hurt your feelings?
Not at all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to go whatever way the rest of the family's going. He's going to go the opposite.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. The rest of them are Seattle Seahawks.
They're Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
you
totally.
betcha. But no,
That's
he's
great.
San Francisco 49ers.
But, he's in full color there, too.
There he is.
Even the gold pants.
Yep.
Chief, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're busy, but Chief Davis, right here in Canby Fire District, number 62.
Very good.
Got it.
Thank you.
Mallory Gwynn with CTV5 checking out. Stay with us. We've got a lot more interviews in the future.